So, quick story, right? I was meditating for a pretty long time. I've been meditating for probably longer than a year, and then just consistently, like every day, right? I might have missed a couple days, but you know how it goes. But, anyways, they was always talking like about presence and being in the moment and the things like mindfulness, and they are supposed to come from doing meditation. But even like after 6 months of doing this shit, I wasn't feeling present or mindful because I didn't really know what the terms meant. And just recently, I had this situation where I finally like it clicked for me, right? I thought, okay, wait, holy shit, is this what being present is? What it's supposed to feel like, right? Is this what being present is? So I'm gonna share that with you, and then I'm gonna give you like a couple steps on how you can achieve this. So I was working in a factory, right? I have a 9 to 5 job, which I use to just get a bit of income, right? So I was working in this factory, and while I was doing like the motion that I had to do, so I had to grab a cap, or this was like I don't know how the fuck I explain it, but there's like this round thing, and I grab a cap and I put it on, and then I smack it like this, and then it just clicks in each other, and then you have like this compartment that is needed to make a chimney. Pretty interesting. But every time when I was doing it, I was just doing the motions, but I wasn't really thinking where I am. Basically, I was just going through situations in my head and stuff, right? So I was like writing a fictional story in my head. It was pretty funny. This like knights versus like the killing a fucking dragon and shit. I was writing stuff in my head and I wasn't really paying attention to what was happening around me. And you might know this as well, or maybe you're singing a song in your head, or maybe you're just thinking about something shit or funny that happened recently in your life, and you're just thinking about it, reflecting it, and then you'll get the idea of like, oh, what if I did this, and then this would have happened, and you get those butterfly effects and stuff inside of your head, and then maybe you'll recognize it when someone is calling your name, and he's doing it a couple of times, right, and then you snap out of it, and then he just looks at you like, dude, I've been calling you for a while, like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And then you just say, oh yeah, I didn't hear you, or I was busy doing something. But that has to do with not being present. And that's only something that I discovered like pretty recently, dude. I never had the fucking idea. I never had a clue. So what presence is, essentially, it's when you're just doing out and about doing shit, and you're not drifting away in thoughts, but you're referring back to the practice of meditation, which is essentially breathing. So basically, you are mindful when you are controlling your breath, when you're paying attention to your breath. That is what being present is. Being present is not thinking about some weird shit in your head whilst you're trying to do something, because that will give you the AFK look. That will give you the thing that when someone is calling you, he needs to call your name 5 or 6 times before you finally reply because you weren't paying attention. That is what it looks like when you're away from keyboard, when you're absent. Presence, on the other hand, is when you're in full control over whatever you're doing. And the only thing that you need to do is focus on your breath. So whilst you're out and about working in a factory, I'm thinking about doing the sickle sigh, the thing that I don't know if it's exactly called like that, but like with Andrew Huberman, that you need to inhale as much as you can and then do a slight one more after it, and then just release everything. Those are like practices you can do to get into the present moment. But basically, it's just letting your thoughts disappear and just focusing on one single thing. And that is essentially your breath, and that is what will make you present. It will make it so that whenever someone calls you, you'll just reply immediately because you're there in the moment and you're not with your thoughts somewhere else. A lot of this can be observed if you go out in public, and my dad always talks about this, like, look at the people driving in the cars or walking, they're not really here. He notices, but he doesn't have a fucking single clue about presence and shit, but he always like makes this claim that people are not here but they're with their thoughts. He always says this shit. He always does. And like, it's pretty logical, right? They're just not present, they're away from keyboard, they're absent. And it clicked on me. So what I want you to do, there are two practices that you should do it. One of them is meditate every day, because it will help with mindfulness. It will help the quicken the time it takes you to, get the thought that, oh wait, I should reflect, go back on my thoughts. That's the one that meditation helps with. It helps you to get the idea that, hey, wait, I'm not here. I'm with my thoughts. I should go back to the breath. That's what meditation helps for. Another great practice to get into the flow state, the like presence thing, which is even faster than meditation. Andrew Huberman talked about this on his breathing podcast. It's the sickle sigh, I think, or sigh sickle, one of those two. But basically, it's obviously you don't have to breathe like that when you're with someone out in public. It's a bit weird when you're doing that, isn't it? But all it takes is just breathing in as much as you can, stopping for a slight second, breathing again, and then just exhaling. So I'll do it one more time. Don't make fun of me. And this is proven by science, by scientific literature, to get you more mindful than meditation, which is pretty insane, isn't it? And I discovered this maybe 3 months ago, but now I finally I nailed it down. I learned to apply it in my life, and now I can teach it to you guys. So it's pretty cool. So you want to do both of those practices ideally. If you really have to choose one, I would just go with the sickle sigh, the one with the 2 breaths, and I would just do it for maybe 5 minutes every day, and or 10 breaths perhaps, just to get yourself into that flow state and feel like what it's like. And then even like exercising, for example, it becomes much better because you're paying attention to how your muscle is moving and shit, which is pretty crazy. That's why there are a lot of people that go to the gym, and you'll hear about this a lot. They're just going through the motions. That has nothing to do with people not like knowing how to exercise or the mind muscle connection and shit. I'm of the idea that people just go through the motion, like when they're just doing this shit, like just doing the exercise. It's basically pretty much because they're not mindful, they're absent, they're not here at the moment, they're somewhere else with their minds, with their thoughts, thinking about something. That's why they go through the motion. That's why people cannot fucking do their homework, because it's so fucking difficult for them to sit there and focus on something, because they're constantly thinking of some other shit in their life. That's why presence, mindfulness breathing, this shit is it's the G, like it's the fucking top dog of the world. My entire life changed. I swear to God, my entire life changed when I started doing this stuff. And I know that it can probably, not even probably, this can definitely help you. Like there's no way you'll start meditating and breathing properly and then experiencing downside effects and saying, no, my life is worse than it was. Nah, it will always be better. Depends on you how much better it becomes. My name is Danny. I want to help improve your life one level at a time. Click on subscribe, like, leave a comment, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.